One.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Be Encouraged show with Frank Sinclair and Lisa Sinnott. Welcome, welcome. So we are a platform for entrepreneurs and community-focused individuals to reach to create a positive impact and here in the Colorado Springs community and beyond. So today's episode is brought to you by our awesome sponsors. Have you heard of Joshua Aguirre and his company, Crescio?
You haven't?
One person.
Okay, one person.
They offer pay what you can consultations to underprivileged entrepreneurs in Colorado Springs.
That's fantastic.
And teach people how to leverage ChatGPT for their business. So visit them at Crescio.com to learn more. And of course, Pro Media, Colorado Springs' leading service for professional video and photo content with an emphasis on the sales process videos to convert your prospects into paying customers. Check them out at ProMediaColorado.com. And in honor of Martin Luther King Day, we are going to have Frank share a little bit.
Here we go. I have a dream that one day the nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia and on the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream that my 4 children as well will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. We have a dream today, and at Be Encouraged with Frank and Lisa, we have a dream that we can infuse hope and encouragement into a world solely, desperately in need of that. And today we get to do that by bringing on incredible human beings that we get to talk to as we continue our mission, right, Lisa?
That's right.
Yeah, so we're here, and who are we?
Who are we, Frank?
Who are we?
We don't have identity crisis.
Not at all.
Well, we are a dynamic team of business leadership experts and coaches who offer keynotes, emceeing, and facilitating interpersonal communication and leadership development to small to mid-sized businesses. And we are based here in Colorado Springs, and our services are available both in the U.S. and international. So let's dive in, Frank, and introduce our guests.
I'm so excited. You guys excited as me?
Yeah,
we are.
All right, go on. Let's pump it up there. Indeed. Let me introduce our incredible guest, Dr. Michelle Buchanan, to my left here. And just on a personal note, I've known Michelle now for, I don't know, what, 7-8 years or so?
Something like that.
Yeah,
It's
something
been a
like
bit.
that. Yeah,
It's
she used
been
to
a
work with my daughter Danielle at Comcast years ago. That's how we were introduced to one another. But she's an Airforce veteran and with the commitment on outreach to the community. She's also a co-podcast host of Extraordinary Everyday Leaders, and recently a new doctor graduating from UCCS as well.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, she's amazing. Those are her bad points. Yeah, so we also have Rachel Stovall here. She goes without introduction. She is such an amazing member of our community, a local entrepreneur in the Pikes Peak Region for over 30 years. You started at 8. And she produces radio and podcasts, and since 2017 is an award-winning columnist for the Colorado Spring Gazette, also an incredible singer. I can mention that I had the privilege of officiating her husband Keith's going home ceremony. So thank you for giving me the honor of doing that. We love you guys in that city.
of grief, but our season of mourning is over.
Yes.
It is time to enter a year of joy.
Yes.
Year of joy,
Oh,
yes, indeed. And Aaron Prupas, he is a retired Major General out of the United States Air Force, and he is the founder and CEO of Brain Trust Solutions LLC. And if you ever read his bio, you'll know why he's the president and CEO of Brain Trust.
Yes.
It's
Cool.
I've read it all, my friends, so I'm telling you, it is such a trip to me. And Brain Trust Ventures LLC as well. Aaron owns Dryer Vent Wizard of Colorado Springs with 32 years in the United States Air Force. This retired Major General, Aaron, is a subject matter expert with Riverside Research, advises the U.S. Space Force, consults for national security organizations, and sits on the board of tech, energy, startups, intelligence organization, and local nonprofits.
You're doing more now than you did as a general, huh?
It's crazy. I failed retirement.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's not retired. You're like,
That's what he
Yeah,
does
you're-
for fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just for fun.
yeah. You're like me, right? We're tired, but we didn't forget to read,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we're so glad to have you guys here today.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us on the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa. You want to start us off today,
Sure.
asking some questions?
I would love to.
Well, I would love for you to.
All right. So let's start with you, Michelle.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your background. Not professional yet. We'll get there.
Okay. I consider myself a nomad. I've grown up all over the Southwest, which I think probably fueled some of my desires to what I do today, because you encounter a lot of different people and cultures and environments. And I became very curious. So I consider myself a curious person. I also have a daughter who just graduated high school. What else? I love sports and music.
Were you military family as well? Your family military, or where were you guys?
I actually do have a long lineage in the military, but not while I was alive.
Okay.
So everyone got out before, but I have backgrounds actually in the Army and the Air Force both. And actually my grandmother's brother flew for General Chenault and was actually
Really?
Yes. So
Your grandmother's what?
brother.
Brother. Okay. Yeah.
And so a little bit of history. I am a member of Daughters of the American Revolution. So yes, I do have lineage back. However, my reason for moving was not because of military.
But your parents were highbrow intellectuals as well, right? I think I heard that story. Yeah,
She's
you know what?
trying not to tell us a lick of her past.
I know, right?
No, I think my parents are very smart, highly educated. They grew up in tech, so it's probably no surprise I ended up in Space Command. You grow up around computers and punch cards and dot matrix, and then you see the evolution to pagers and cell phones, and it just fuels the love of technology and advancing the cause. And so it's probably no surprise today that even after I retired, 10 years ago this year, I still work in tech. I still fuel tech. It's curiosity, love of learning, love of helping others, and technology, and of course service to the community I would say are the threads of my life.
Indeed, indeed. Wow. So I'm not going to break your threads, but I'm going to come back and connect them.
I was wondering.
Right.
Curious now.
Exactly. We'll pull it out of her.
Well, I don't know if we will. There's some things, and I promised Michelle that we can't talk about because of the work that she does do today. It's kind of
Security clearance.
Yeah. And they took mine away right before I hit the park.
Acacia Park. That's right.
I remember that story.
Right.
That's one of your threads.
That's one
Yes.
of mine. Yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
Part of the story of how we got here today.
That's right.
Indeed. So, before we move on to them, you have a puppy with you today. What's the dog's name?
My puppy's name is Lily,
Yeah.
and she is my service dog, and she has helped me through some difficult times the last few years. But she's part of the family.
Awesome.
We have to get
Hey,
her on
Lily,
camera
I
at
want
some
to give you a
point.
shout out.
She's
You wanna
just
see it?
That's it.
adorable.
This
Yeah,
is my
lab,
little
black
girl.
lab, one of my first
Adorable.
dogs too. Yeah.
How did you get
Yes.
her? Where'd you go through to get her?
Actually, she was a rescue that came into my life unexpectedly, and I reached out to a training organization. It took us about 1.5 years to train her, and now she travels with me. She just went on a Disney cruise in last May.
Yes.
She's a world traveler. She's been to the Virgin Islands and the Bahamas.
Amazing.
Remember, Josh, just the other night when I was doing a keynote for Thrive, I was mentioning when I was being raised in North Carolina, to be saying I'm treating you like a dog was not a compliment.
Right.
But in Colorado Springs, to be treated like a dog is definitely
Yeah, we want the dog.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about
Yeah. I don't think she misses her former life at all.
Well, we're glad both you and Lily are here. Rachel.
Hey.
Hey. I know Rachel is a columnist and ran for office. And tell us a little bit about you. I think you're kind of a native to our joint here, right?
So I grew up here in Colorado Springs. My mother was a nurse out at Evans Hospital.
Okay.
And this was, all the way back to the 70s. And so I just, growing up here was an interesting experience. Demographically, it was different, but the spirit of Colorado Springs is one of warmth, and it is one of inclusion. And believe it or not, oh my goodness.
Woo! And it's one of falling.
Yes.
But I know many people who are falling in love with us who want to move out here. So
Yes.
that's how we went from 500,000 people to 750,000.
Yes. Isn't that something?
And with that, we have kind of some big city difficulties. But I hope that in a return to connection with our friends and neighbors, the way it used to be, where people really knew one another, we can smooth out our big city problems and kind of go back to having that small city spirit, in that way, but, take on whatever we've got to take on for the millennium. Did you guys know we were just declared the second most racially, residentially diverse city in the United States?
The second most what?
Residentially, so where people live, racially diverse.
Really?
So we mix it up here in
I
Colorado.
do see.
Yeah.
I see
You
that
live
all the
wherever
time.
you want.
That's
So it
right.
was the Center for Belonging and Othering out of Stanford. Apparently found this out by looking at the different things, and with 5 military bases, if you think about it,
Yeah.
it makes
It makes sense.
It
It does
does.
make sense. So
Yeah.
we're just a different kind of city, and I'm kind of delighted to be almost a native. I think I was 7 when I got here.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got here as soon as you could.
Yeah.
Exactly. As soon as I could.
Where were you born? Where?
I was born in Providence, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Oh my goodness.
One of
What,
my favorite years in the Air Force.
really?
Really?
That's so neat.
6 degrees of
So-
separation.
What brought you from Rhode Island to here?
My mother brought us. She was disenchanted with the East Coast, which was kind of growing into, big city urban problems that, people often don't want to be connected to. And so she took us 3 and moved us out here to Colorado, and kind of on a wing and a prayer. But she had a good skill set. She was
But
able
why
to get
here
work.
of all the places that she could have
Her brother
been?
had moved here.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
He went to Vietnam and he came back, opted not to go back to Providence, and told her, you have to come out west, it's terrific.
Hmm.
So single mama brings 3 babies over to here.
Yes,
So tell us about your siblings.
my siblings, oh my goodness. So we have, I'm the oldest, and then I had 2 brothers,
Okay.
and she raised us here in Colorado, which back then was so affordable.
Yes.
As a single mother, she bought a house herself and
Wonderful.
tried to herd the cats that
Yes.
we were.
Oh,
Get through, what you get through with wild kids, and I just laugh. Back in that day, they didn't call you, ADHD. They just kind of pronounced you BAD. You got the occasional spanking,
Yes.
but we turned out all right.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
did.
did. Yeah. And we're so glad that
Yeah.
this was your landing spot.
Yes.
We had the opportunity. We'll dig down into some of those wonderful things that Rachel brings to community now. And not without a pushback, but
Hopefully they Well, there's always going to be pushback.
always.
Because as human beings, I think that we have to agree, but I also think that we have to disagree.
Yeah.
And every family has sibling rivalries. And
Oh, yeah.
so sometimes we have that,
Yeah.
even on the city or state level. But truly, if we will move back into really being in relationship with one another, we will repair our social fabric that is so frayed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least, and I believe that with all of our hearts.
We do.
And our show is really geared towards doing just that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, General Prupas. God, it felt good to say
They
that.
just call me here.
I just call you Aaron. I respect that. But I tell everyone, oh my God, he's General. No, he's a VetNet member.
You stay long enough, they promote you.
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
No, you're amazing.
07s and 08s aren't your everyday thing that happens, my friend. I
Yeah.
don't care people who stay along. But anyway, I know you're a humble guy,
Yes.
and you've definitely done some great work for our city. Tell us a little bit about who Aaron Prupas is.
Yeah, so not quite as native to Colorado as Rachel. I do kind of feel like Colorado is now my home. Yeah, I grew up in the Reno Lake Tahoe area out west.
Oh.
And my dad was always, a businessman, and my mom worked with him, and they raised 4 of us kids. My
So they
brother-
were entrepreneurs?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, my dad was in the dry cleaning and laundry business, and later in the auto detailing customization. He had a Vespa dealership.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Vespa.
Vespa, the little Italian scooters.
They're super
Yeah.
cute, Frank. We got to go to
We
Europe.
didn't have any of them in the hood.
So
Joshua wanted us to speaking gig in Europe.
Yeah, but you can
Ride
have it now.
Vespas with them.
So I grew up in a great family with 3 other siblings. My brother was in the Army. He served just after Vietnam. He was in the Army, and my 2 sisters both graduated from the University of Nevada in Reno, and that's where I went to school for a year. But I knew I wanted to be in the Air Force.
How did you know that?
I just knew from a young age. I started flying as a kid, and I thought, well, I'm going to join the Air Force and go to the Air Force Academy and fly fighter jets. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's not all I did, but so I went to the University of Nevada for a year because the academy said that I didn't meet their standards. So I said, well, I'll try
Getting in
again.
is hard.
Yeah, I'll try again.
It is,
and-
one note here, I was accepted to prep school when I was 19 to the academy, but I was afraid
remember that
to do
story.
that. Yeah. I didn't have the confidence to do it.
Yeah, Frank served in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But so I moved here in 1986 to join the class of 1990 from the Air Force Academy, and we'll skip that whole story. But I spent 32 years, 6 months, and 1 day.
Don't skip it.
But who's
Tell us,
counting?
how is academy life? Was it tough or?
It's funny. People from my class will tell you how tough it was back in the day, and the people before us will tell you it was harder for them.
Of course.
And then, of course, the cadets today will tell you, no, it's harder today. And
Yeah.
I don't know that it's any harder or easier. It's a little bit different. Every generation's different. But I look back on that time, and I think it was an amazing experience in my life. 4 years. Some of the best friends I still have today were my classmates from the academy. And then an amazing family supporting me the entire time.
Family can't be understated in its importance.
Not at all. And I think, that's really why we're back here in Colorado Springs. Off and on since '86. And my sister is the principal at Arapahoe High School.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, up there near Denver. And so she's been here for 30-something years.
Okay.
I met my wife here in Colorado. Her brother and I work together in Cheyenne Mountain. He's here. His family's here. And then my wife, Amy, her family, her sisters up in Loveland and their kids. And so we're a Colorado family.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Are your parents still?
Unfortunately, my parents aren't with us anymore.
Okay.
But they stayed in the Reno Lake Tahoe
Reno area. Yeah.
But so we ended up here in Colorado, and much like Michelle's story, my daughter is in high school. She's a junior at Pine Creek. And my last assignment was in the Pentagon, and Amy and Morgan said, "Hey, we're going to stay here. We're not going to move Morgan out of high school."
Nice.
So I went and did a couple of years in the Pentagon, a year and a half, and got the opportunity to put in my retirement paperwork and come home to Colorado.
Oh, yeah. So tell everyone. I know people are sitting on the seat of their pants, on the edge of their seats, rather.
I know.
hope they're sitting on
I
the
was like,
edge of
what?
their pants. Right. Yeah, you're supposed to help me there. Help
That's
me.
quite the visual. Ready to bail you out. But you caught it.
I got it. All right. We're going the track, right, to general officer. Did you always know that was the track you were on? No?
No, my track was to go be a fighter pilot, and of course, I don't know what I was thinking. I couldn't see when I went to the academy.
Oh, no.
And when I did my graduation physical, they said, "No, really, you can't see. You're gonna have to pick something else."
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So I
You gotta be
ended
able
up,
to see if you're gonna fly.
yeah, I ended up in the intelligence
Small
business,
technicality.
which that's not what I had planned to do.
Ooh.
But it turned out to be a phenomenal career. And I figured I'd do 4 years, and then get out and move back home and take over the family business, right? That's what I was going to do. But the Air Force is such an amazing organization, just our professional military today. And I think that's part of the flavor here in Colorado Springs with the 5 military bases.
Yeah.
And so every time I turned around, I was working with amazing people, and the Air Force kept giving me opportunities to lead. And flash forward 32 years, and I was still in and serving. So no, I never intended to become a general officer. It just turned out to be one of those things where I got opportunities, luck, and timing, and people believed in me, and I had a family support network and a friend support network that allowed me to continue to lead airmen and guardians and joint service members.
That's awesome.
It's really important to have the family engaged and supportive as well.
Yeah, and it's really the whole extended family, right?
Right,
It's not just your
exactly.
core family, it's
Right.
your siblings, it's your parents,
Oh,
it's your
yeah.
cousins, it's your aunts, uncles.
Takes a
Well,
tribe.
And in
friends.
addition to that, Lisa, you see a common thread that happens there as well. When you're surrounded by people that support you,
Yes.
it's much easier to see and embrace the support that's happening with you outside of the family as well.
Right.
Because you've already got, and those of us that didn't have that, Aaron, that the opportunity to do that, it creates space a lot of times where it's much more of a fight to believe that we can extend to places and
Absolutely
do
true.
things, right?
We see that playing out in all of these situations where people feel they are quote unquote marginalized.
Yes.
It is not coincidental that with that sense of being marginalized are ties that are, tenuous
Yes.
to family and networks of success.
Absolutely. And we see it today in people that are having such a hard time networking in this community.
Yeah.
There's typically a backstory where they weren't networked well in their upbringing and their
That's true.
home lives and those type things. So there's a built-in distrust of humanity that rolls into that really creates some bad space,
That's
right? For humanity. Thank you for showing where that connectedness can lead to, Aaron.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the community that you all are building here. It's a family.
It is a
Exactly.
family. Absolutely. It is. Yeah. That is so awesome. I love that story, Michelle. Back at you as well. We're so glad to have you come in. You told me not to talk about certain things because
He ain't gonna listen.
So tell me what you can talk about.
That's the best way to do it. Oh God, she brought a book. Pretty sure you're supposed to burn those at the door. Oh goodness.
Oh no, not the book.
No, it's not a book. It's actually things, I just brought in a couple notes about my own podcast, just some refresher and some of my research I did, but you talk about unifying, finding common threads in the community.
Right.
That's actually some of what I brought. I do generational research and I talk about finding the common thread across generations and cultures and leveraging the common thread instead of where are we different and how do we divide ourselves by those differences. For example, one example is tech. So how do we bring generations together? Well, we all have a common need to communicate, for example.
Yeah.
It's the platform on which we communicate or the venue through which we communicate that evolves over time, but it's really not changing the need to socialize or communicate or share an idea or share business interests or what values matters most to us and our values, right? That's one example. That's just what I brought, was just a couple reference notes. And the other thing I brought was in my own podcast some topics I had talked about, Frank was my first guest.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And we actually talked about, so my podcast centers on leadership development, specifically for cross-functional leaders. In my research, I found that there seems to be an emergent gap of the next generation in the cross-functional space.
Oh, wow.
So we spend a lot of time developing people that are identified as leaders, and we spend a lot of time developing those individual contributors in their technical space. So we want really technical experts in software programming or design or graphics artists or pick
How did I get on the show?
Yeah.
Because of your expertise. And so I really saw this gap of cross-flow for people who either wanted to become leaders or people that were stuck in that middle space, like project managers or program managers, and how do we cultivate and develop those interests as well in an equal space because of the challenge of needing to be both a technical expert and a leader.
Right.
And when you don't have them as direct reports, for example, that challenge becomes increasingly nuanced. So how do I influence you when you don't report to me? I don't give you your paycheck. I don't write your annual report. I literally have no way of incentivizing you from an administrative perspective. And so I reached out to Frank and I said, hey, I have this idea. People ask me about my leadership all the time. And I would really love if you came on and talked about some of the principles of authentic leadership, because that's also another trend that we hear more and more about is be your authentic self, be authentically you, bring your authentic persona to work. We see more and more about it. And I said, Frank, you lead through your faith. And I would like to start with that tenet and just talk about how do you lead through faith in an authentic way. And he shared some advice and recommendations for how do you do that without necessarily being a neon sign about whatever your value is.
Right.
So Michelle, over the past 6 months, what's been a big hurdle for you in your business and how did you overcome it?
I would say my biggest challenge has actually been overcoming me.
Give it up.
It's always
To the human race.
That's probably common.
That was sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Getting myself out of my comfort zone to talk to people. She's done. No, I'm kidding. It was this idea of I know a lot of people and they're really great at what they do, and being comfortable to reach out to people maybe I didn't necessarily consider my inner circle, but to say, hey, you've influenced me and I think you could influence others because of what you do well.
Right.
And it's really interesting. I'm getting ready to record my 13th episode.
Awesome.
Congrats. Thank you. I do about one a month, so it's a slow process. But it's given me a chance to bring people in that I maybe didn't necessarily have the confidence to really reach out and say, can I spend an hour with you? I want to talk to you about leadership. And you're very good at mentoring, or you're very good at connecting people. You're very good at leading with your faith, or you have a great growth mindset. How did you get into that? And how do you lead with that as your core value?
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
So
Her and Dr. A.
just putting yourself out there and saying, I'm going to jump in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Way to jump in.
Yeah. We
That's
like
what
it,
I'm talking
Michelle.
about. Way to jump in.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
love it. We're all about jumping in, aren't we?
Yes.
You know?
2 feet in.
Drowning.
Then we'll talk about it later.
Cannonball. He's a cannonball.
There we go, baby. You're near, you're going to get wet, that's for sure. You know, talking about that and coming back around to you too, Rachel, but Same question, Aaron, for you. I totally lost my chain of
I
thought.
saw
Did you
that.
notice
Yes,
that?
I
You're
got
supposed to be
you.
picking me
I-
up here.
Well, I.
You
What do you have for
you
Aaron?
let me drown here, aren't you?
You're not
gonna Partner, come on.
Got you.
Yeah, same thing with you, Aaron. You know, starting a new business, coming out of military, Dry Brent Wizard, obviously got a lot of other things that's funding your fun. Right. And all these other spaces.
Yes.
But how what's the challenge you've had starting this business, and how are you overcoming that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Frank. And you know, most senior leaders in the military, when they retire, don't go down the path that I went down.
Right.
They really don't.
Yeah.
And they don't have to, right?
Right.
But before I answer that question, let me just start with why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Great.
You know, I watched my family when I was growing up as a kid, and the values I got from my parents, and watching their extended family. They were bigger than themselves. They were a part of the community. And we talked about, you know, how do we make Colorado Springs a community? And I could have taken a job. I could have not worked at all.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I could have taken a job working for somebody. But I always wanted to serve something bigger than myself. And so that's part of the thing that kept me in the Air Force for 32 years, serving something bigger myself. Well, now I can serve the Colorado Springs community by establishing a business here, in addition to the other work that I'm doing with the nonprofits, et cetera. But I can hire local people, I can bring a service to the community, I can build a business that will give back to my family, and that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Now to answer your question, I know a lot about leading airmen, and I know a lot about executing the military mission. I don't know the first thing about running a business. And so the challenge for me is, how do you transition from a leadership of airmen, mission and budget type job in the Air Force where you're serving in the Department of Defense, to being a CEO, an entrepreneur, and a founder of a business, and not having that background. And so I went with a franchise business for the Dry Brent Wizard, because I was like, well, I can follow a business model.
Right.
And so that really has helped me along the way. But there's so many things a franchise can teach you.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, we got a community like this. I met Frank and Lisa through VetNet, and I belong to some other networking organizations in town, and I'm in the Rotary Club. And so I'm leaning on the expertise in this city, in this state. The Small Business Development Center here, the Chamber, amazing resources for business owners. I went and took their small business class. So lots of challenges there. I'm learning. We're just about done with our first year in business, and we're growing, and we're looking to grow more this year. So lots to learn still.
Lots to learn. Yeah, we're so glad you chose our city to settle in and create space. And all the things that you're doing are the things that we need in business. And if someone has a forward-looking stance about creating business and giving back. And that's what I love about the military, right? Because it's so much bigger than us. And then sometimes that's the hard transition space as we get out and we do these businesses and do work, and it doesn't seem to have the same impact, or opportunity doesn't feel bigger than us, and we struggle there in transition sometimes. So, yeah, you.
You're so funny.
Miss Rachel.
So I know that most people think of community advocacy as being volunteer work, but it's not. Because there are so many mission-driven nonprofits around us, and a lot of times it's smarter to go into a nonprofit as a contractor than it is to go in as an employee. It costs them less. They can still have the service. And you know, you can put it under your LLC and be able to work your various streams of revenue. So a lot of you may not know this, but my husband died a few years ago. And it was quite a shock and unexpected.
Yes, it was.
And so literally I went to the viewing of his body, and I'm kissing him goodbye, and I'm thinking, my God, I have no income. Yeah. Most people don't know that. And I started praying like I have never prayed in my life. And then I thought about the different things that we had been contracting to organizations. And I sought to see what contracts we had together that I could possibly, take on with myself. And so some of those kind of came together right away. And I was able to, extend some services in a way that were helpful to the organizations, helpful to the community, and lucrative. Why? Because you cannot live without money in Colorado Springs. Our city has become the type of city that's very expensive, and it is hard to live here comfortably without six-figure income. And so because my initial contracts were going well, even through the context of running for office, which is some of what I did that first
Tell us
year.
a little bit about that.
Well, my husband was locked away from our family in a local hospital because of all of the fears around COVID. And I don't have anything against anyone, but it was a devastating experience for him. It was devastating for our family, and I found myself having to pull political allies to literally fight to get in to the space at all. Just to be with him and hold his hand and bring what encouragement we could, because none of us realized it was going to be the end. We thought we'd finally gotten in to help him to get well, and the experience deeply changed me, and I didn't want other people to go through that. So a nonprofit that I do some work with, the Never Alone Project. I started as a volunteer. I was just ticked. I wanted to tell my story. I wanted people to know that to not have people, adversely affected during such a struggle in their lives, we needed to change the law. And we were successful. In 2022, the law was indeed changed, and Governor Polis was actually quite supportive and signed it. So that for future reference, some of you, if you find yourself being locked out of that space while your loved one is going through a struggle, feel free to reach out. I would love to guide you through what the new law is and what the new process is, and some of those things. So I kind of came out of that process with running for office. I didn't win, unfortunately. It was heartbreakingly close. And so I thought, okay, I need to take on some other contracts. So I began talking with organizations, and I'm excited to be on the staff of United Way now, that partners with many, many nonprofits in our community, and really helps to build the social fabric here locally, really helps to bring people into a space where they have some help for living, because the struggle is real on so many levels in 2024. I don't know, I think I viewed things as easy before going through all of these things. And I was not clear on what single women are going through. I was not clear on what widows are going through. I was not clear on what families are going through. But being able to stay active and work hard in the nonprofit space has helped to bring that clarity that we need one another more than we ever have in our lives.
Amen to that. Real quick, Rachel, I need to commend you for your resilience here.
Thank you.
I mean, losing a husband, that can be paralyzing in
Absolutely.
life. And you needed an income, and you just stood up to the best of your ability to survive. And look at you now, thriving in the city, pouring into others. It is so amazing. And I know that there are people out there who could use your wisdom, your guidance, and your consolation who may be going through this.
Absolutely, I would support anyone, but let me tell you the truth. I didn't go through this on my own. There is an entire, I guess we would say, textbook for grieving, and it's a course, and it is a life-changing 13-week course. It's almost like putting in years of therapy in mere weeks. You live it, you eat it, you breathe it, you sleep it, you think about yourself, you think about your relationship patterns. And to do anything that I wanted to do during that time, I realized that there could be no more. I'm an introvert, which I know most people find hard to believe.
Because when I'm working, like on stage, you press the on button.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've got the woman who will dance on a table.
She'll be at my karaoke event on Thursday night.
And you should come. You will enjoy
Oh
it.
yeah, 6 p.m. Buzz Pro.
It will be such a show because Tina Turner's my I guess we'd say my inspiration. But I couldn't be the introvert who reads books all day in the house anymore because my husband was gone. So I had to go through a process that could help me get in touch with the part of me that wanted to be connected to people, and we were able to do that. And so we greatly accelerated the rate of my healing, and I would highly recommend it. There is a whole network of counselors who do the particular teaching on this, but mine happened to be Crystal Gibbons, and I just look back at it, there's no way I would be where I am.
What organization is that?
Okay, so let me.
Can you post it later
I sure
in
can.
our
Yeah.
live
I sure can.
comments so that our listeners can?
Absolutely, I'll
Take
post a
it.
picture of the book and
Perfect.
maybe
Yeah.
even my particular counselor's card. But it was disconcerting for people around me. We're not taught how to grieve. We're not
We're
taught how
not.
to adjust to change.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're, other people that mean well, they bring us the platitudes that we've heard all our lives that
Right.
people need to desperately stop saying,
Yes.
but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have been able to do that and to really be honestly thriving,
Yes.
honestly
Yeah,
thriving.
but your walk through that becomes someone else's survival guide.
Exactly.
And
Right.
then when
I
we
want to write a
go
book
through
about it.
Yeah,
Yes, you should.
and that's what
Yes.
life is. What you've gone through, what
Mhm.
you've dealt with. Those are the things what you dealt with, etc. You and I. Those are the things that really create space for other
Yeah.
humans.
That's right.
And we forget that sometimes. We think, oh, God, just something I went through. No, it's not just something you went through. There's a reason, there's a purpose in pain, and there's a process that happens so that someone else can be leveraged and benefit from those things that we go through.
And with the high
Yeah.
suicide rate,
Oh.
they need to
Isolation
hear
is
this.
killing us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Our Surgeon General of the United States, now this is a man who has served under multiple presidents,
Yes.
has literally put out a call to action about isolation and
And
loneliness.
loneliness.
And he's calling it an epidemic.
Epidemic.
Is
Absolutely.
calling it an
Yeah.
epidemic.
And-
COVID shifted something with us, and God help us, we have to shift it back.
Exactly.
Well, it was even before COVID. There's a book on loneliness that Barna's Institute is taking out that has printed on loneliness. And if you get an opportunity to pick that up, George Barna, he does a lot of research.
He's
and
awesome. I've been
different
studying him
things.
for years.
Me too.
Is he in your
Yeah.
Kindle?
He is in my Kindle.
Okay.
Yeah, she is my second Kindle. so
Yes.
she gets my
Ah.
first
Woo,
for
I'm a
free.
kid in the
Yeah.
candy store.
They do
Yeah.
some amazing research.
Amazing research,
Okay.
yeah, and it's really something to pick up. Well, we want, because our show is all about infusing hope and encouragement in the community, Michelle. We need you to tell our audience something that's hopeful and encouraging.
This is your moment to encourage the world.
This is what our
So-
whole thing is about.
Yes.
So when I was in school, I too was kind of trying to figure out what I want to do post Air Force. Air Force had become my identity.
Mhm.
And I really started thinking about my past and my personal experiences and what mattered to me most. And I actually came up with my leadership philosophy in a sentence. I said, okay, this is going to guide my decisions going forward. And that is, I use the short phrase of dare to be diamonds and iron, but really it's lift up others to shine like diamonds, let yourself be others' iron. It's founded in my faith and it's founded in my personal philosophy. And I would definitely say everyone in this room is an example of either lifting someone up or letting others shine, to be diamonds, and using what we have inside of us to help others be better at what they do. I think you're a perfect example of that, right? You could propagate pain, or you could say, as you did, I don't want others to go through this. So how do I help my experiences help you? That is my encouragement, is take what you're good at and give it to the world. Give it away. It's free.
Yes.
Share.
Yes.
Share.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah. Aaron, same question to you, my friend, because at the end of the day, Drive-In Wizard does great work. You do great work around the world, consulting all of these other spaces. But when you could talk to our audience, they say, General Prupas, what is encouraging and hopeful for us today? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so I am encouraged. A lot of people are down on the current generation that's growing up. I won't throw out the disparaging comments I hear about, but
We've all heard it.
You hear it all the time. And I'm here to tell you, watching these kids growing up today, the teens and the young 20-somethings, I work with a lot of them in the military. I do some work with the cadets at the Airforce Academy. I'm the vice president of our local AFA chapter, helping our guardians and our airmen's families and their education and so forth. These kids are brilliant.
Yes.
They're brilliant. They're hardworking. They're different than us, and that's okay.
That is okay.
totally
Well, I'm different than my parents.
And so I'm super encouraged by these young kids that are coming up, because the most important thing you can do in anything you do in life is pass on everything you know and responsibilities to the generation behind you. I mean, that's the most important job in the military, is to train your replacement.
Yes.
It's the same thing we need to do in our community. And these kids are ready.
Yeah.
They're absolutely ready. I watch the kids coming in the military. I watch the kids that I work with in the business community. It is really encouraging to see just how capable these kids are. Let's let them run with it.
Well, let me be devil's advocate for a minute, okay? Because the kids that you are really engaging are
They're top notch in
the
character.
top. Hey.
I appreciate that, but I'll tell you, I have exposure to kids that aren't those kids.
Okay.
So my wife is a special needs teacher. Well, she's a para at District 49, Vista Ridge High School.
Yeah.
And she's been a social worker. She's a trained social worker, and I'm here to tell you the resources that are for the others that are not those super, top 1% that I've personally been exposed to.
Right.
The resources are there for them as well, and to be a part of our community and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, we've got some challenges in our community, and it's not all unicorns and rainbows and everything.
Yeah.
But in general,
Yeah.
I am encouraged by this generation, and it's going to be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Tell them that one more time.
It's going to be okay.
Right on. We need to hear that, brother. I'm telling you.
I mean, I'm raising kids in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my grandkids are in that space now, so, and it's my kids having some difficult times.
Yeah.
I won't say personally what's going on, but yeah, I'm having some difficult times. But parents always had difficult times.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's not like it's something new, right? So, Rachel, give us something hopeful and encouraging.
So on this MLK Day, I have a strong message for people listening, watching, all the rest of that. If you have been told that the world is against you because of your level of ability or your race, your creed, your social and economic status, I'm sorry, it's time to take that message, throw it on the ground and stomp on it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but there are people speaking nicely about you behind your back. People are conspiring about ways to help you. People are advocating for you. People are genuinely rooting for you behind your back. Not everyone is against you, even though it may feel like that sometimes in the world that we live in. You would be surprised at what's just waiting around the corner that will be the resource that you will need, and it will come through relationship. You have never needed relationship as much as you do now, and it's time for your heart to become open to it.
Woo!
Awesome.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, you might as well follow that with give people an opportunity to know how to reach you as well.
So, I am the easiest person you know to reach with. You can dial 211 on, Mondays through Fridays, and I am at the 211 line, and literally I guide people through crisis all day. And it has been the most engaging and intense work that I've ever done, but I love it. It is fine for you to call. Let's say whatever's happening in the morning, we have other people, our team members are fantastic, and they are willing to help. So, you can call in the morning, you can leave us messages, and then you can go to the Pikes Peak United Way page. There's even ways to text us, and sometimes we have different times that we are on. So I would be glad to help you through some of these difficult things that are happening out here.
Thank you. Yeah, Michelle, tell people how to reach you, maybe engage in your podcast.
Yeah, so I am on YouTube under Diamonds and Iron handle. I also have a website. Look up bediamondsandiron.com, and you'll see all my episodes there, and I post them as soon as I get them edited, so about once a month.
Once a month.
Thank
for
you.
the wonderful work you do.
Yes.
No, thank you for inviting me here.
You absolutely.
You are the inspiring one.
That's true. Thank you. Aaron, how we reach you, my friend?
Well, so if you're looking for the Dryer Vent Wizard, you can just Google dryerventwizard.com and you'll find us. Or you can dial 719-822-2828. But if you're looking for me and the help that I bring to the community through the nonprofits and so forth, I'm on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way to get me.
Yeah.
Prupas is a really unusual name.
It is. Where does that originate, by the way?
It's a Russian family name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my family came here after the uprising there in Russia via Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So there aren't many of us. So if you look on LinkedIn, you'll find me there, and I can put some links in those pages.
That'd be awesome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Good
it.
to be here with you all.
You want to reach more people with your business? We reach up to 40,000 people a week here on the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa. Also, visit our new website at beencouraged.net. If you want Lisa specifically, go to Lisa at beencouraged.net. Frank at beencouraged.net. You can become a sponsor of our show or request an on-site visit to get your business name out there to our growing audience. We want exposure for you so that your business and your space can grow to the places of your desire. You got anything else?
Well, you didn't mention our new mastermind we got.
Oh, I did not.
Yes. So, if you are interested in collaborating and really brainstorming and gleaning from other business owners as well as Frank and I, it's twice a month. It's the first and third Friday of the month on Zoom. So we're taking this around the world. So please join us. If you're interested, let us know. It is Lisa at beencouraged.net to let me know.
Let her know.
Yeah.
She'll get you squared away. Thanks for being with us. We are going to be back in just a moment with hour two. Thank you guys for being with us.
Thank
again.
you.
Yes.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom. 3, 2.
Go.
Hi, everyone. We just talked about this.
And here she went.
And here's Patty.
Okay, and so the
I
irony,
love her.
yeah, the irony that I was actually a broadcaster was
It's still on.
You got to
Yes, yes, yes,
you got to step off the
Yeah.
platform. All right.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone.
Yes.
This is the This is the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa on a very, very cool Monday. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. I live for Mondays, just for the show. It's so much
Put
fun.
a face on there.
And you'll see when you experience it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love it. Our whole point is to infuse hope and encouragement in the community through generic and conversation with incredible human beings. So thank you guys for being here with us today. You want me to introduce these folks?
Do you
You
want
want
to?
me to introduce? You want to introduce these folks?
I can.
Yep, go.
I will introduce.
Okay.
Okay.
Just make it up as you go.
Well.
Fluid.
All right. Well, to my right, you all just met Miss Patty Bonsera.
She of the phone that won't
Yes.
stop.
So, Miss Patty is a champion for small businesses here in Colorado Springs, offering hope and encouragement and being prepared for inevitable and unexpected disruptions with your business.
See how she did that? She just threw in offering encouragement and hope
Yeah.
in her intro.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, did
I
you
love that.
AI that intro or what?
How do I introduce myself on the Be Encouraged show?
Joe.
Joshua must have taught you that. All right, and then we have Mr. Keith Hessel. He's in the house, and he helps businesses create an environment for long-term relationships that offer encouragement and hope with both employees and customers. Welcome.
And is serve.
Serve Business Consulting.
Okay.
Awesome.
I thought you had served BC. I didn't know if that was served before Christ.
Before Christ. I
That
knew you were
was
going to go there. Nice. You are a man of faith.
No,
so,
it
yes.
very much works both ways.
It
Yeah.
does. It
He has
does.
6 kids. You gotta have faith.
Yeah, exactly. Just to survive.
It's very true.
Especially this day.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Keith. And to my left, we have this awesome power couple here. The Cole family's in the house. So, Mr. Ryan Cole, he is the COO of Foreknown Ministries, offering hope and healing to the lives of all men who have experienced pregnancy loss of a child.
Wow.
And then Miss Kelsey here is the co-founder and CEO of Foreknown Ministries, also offering hope and encouragement to women who have experienced pregnancy loss.
Did you say woman?
Women. Women.
I thought you.
Plural.
I thought I was hearing one woman.
All of
Women.
them.
Women. So welcome everybody to the Be Encouraged Show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
No, this is awesome.
Yes, indeed. It's so great having you. Once again, we want to make sure that we acknowledge this is Martin Luther King's birthday
Yes,
celebration
yes,
today. So we are so glad to be on the air at a time where we celebrate one of the great humans that have ever graced our land. So let's celebrate that. Patty, you are our panel host today. Patty's been so awesome. Lisa, look at me when I'm talking to you.
What?
No pressure.
No, I feel like my wife is here or something.
You said
The way she
you're
ignores
talking
me.
to Miss
right?
What's up, Frank? What you need?
Okay. Lisa, I wanted to introduce Patty this way by looking at you because this young lady has come into our city
Yes.
and has said, you know what, bar door, I am here to make a difference in our city.
Yes.
And I intend to come in and change the outlook in the places that I'm designed to be in. You're so incredible. Thank you for hosting, being the panel host for our people today and bringing in such amazing people. Now tell us a little bit about you. You can turn look that way.
In your back, let's start with your background. Like start with where were you raised?
Oh my
Where did you
gosh.
start?
We got all day. So I am a native New Yorker, born and raised on Long Island, and so I spent summers at the beach.
Nice.
And so I also grew up in a small family business. And so that's all I knew growing up. Like my dad would be out the door at 4:30 in the morning and wasn't home until, time to eat dinner. And that business put a roof over our heads, food on the table, clothes on our backs, sent me to college. So that's all I knew. And I have a brother. I am. I don't know what else you guys want to know. Like, so
you have a child.
I have 3. So
Grown
I have
children.
3 adult children. They are all now legally responsible for themselves.
Nice.
So,
Hallelujah.
so they
love you.
I'm giving anybody a 5.
They are amazing people. They inspire me. They inspire me with what they've done with their lives. My 2 oldest are, my oldest is active duty military. He was just here last weekend for some business meetings,
What
so I
branch?
got to see him. Army, we're all Army.
All Army.
We're all
You
Army.
had to be in some branch.
An Airforce.
Oh
Yes.
my
Yes.
goodness.
So he and my daughter-in-law, they are stationed in Washington, D.C. area. And my younger son is medically retired. He was 82nd Airborne, jumping out of airplanes.
In Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
My hometown. Yeah.
My biggest challenge with that was, they were both in 09 and 10 deployed the same year, at the same time. One went to Iraq and the other went to Afghanistan for a whole year. So that was probably the longest year of my life.
Yes.
As mom, my daughter, who is now 23, she lives in Boulder now. She is amazing. She's not military, but she's marketing, and she is just like, it's just so different. It's just different because I don't know. I don't want to say because she's a girl, but I think because she was always my youngest, and I always knew that she always was going to have her big brothers to look out for her. So that was always super cool.
Why would she live in Boulder?
Well,
Thank you for asking the obvious question.
I will ask the questions that other people want.
I mean, I was thinking. She lives up north. That's
Yeah, don't tell anyone else that, all right?
there's a story about, and it's good because she's up there very involved in a church up there. So, yeah, so
There's a church in Boulder?
Yeah.
So there's a real
How many? There's got to be like one.
Church
I'm
everywhere.
It's like the church of Boulder.
Wow.
So Ryan went to CSU, so
Yeah.
there's that.
They need
Oh,
Jesus
There's
in
where
the
the
worst
problem
way.
lies.
Yeah. But no, all 3 of them, they just totally inspire me. They really do. They have kept me moving forward when I needed to be kept moving forward, and they have always been there to just encourage me and support me. So I'm just proud of all 3 of them and what they're doing with their lives.
You know what? Parents are always priority.
I know.
People say, and it's almost a big bugaboo for me, is they say, oh, my kids are so amazing, and they start to spout all these adjectives, and when people say, how are your children, I say, human.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, right?
Well, we all go through stuff, right? We all go through stuff, and but that's just part of life. And I have 2 adorable little grandgirls. So
They're adorable.
They're 6 and 4, so they're super cute. And
It's only because you didn't give them back. That's why they're good.
I have 12 grandchildren.
Exactly.
Number 13 on the way.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, it's cool. I love being
When's the
a grand-
baby due?
March.
Oh,
something.
wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That's why we're going up to Florida this month, because they're going to have a baby moon.
Gender revealing.
No, just a baby
Baby
moon.
moon.
They're going
Before
to
the
Mexico
babies have.
before the babies have, so they can hang out with each
Oh,
other.
you're letting them get a life.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then we're gonna watch the other 2 babies
Oh,
during that time, so it's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really cool. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Never
interrupt.
got
I didn't
to
mean
have it.
I didn't mean to interrupt your
She
love
ran
fest
through.
for your baby.
She's like, trying to get a message across.
We are real here. I'm just talking, right?
Who needs that thing?
That's right. I'm so glad those kids are gone. I don't even care if they're listening.
Parenting is not easy.
I love them, but it's been one of the best times of my life being empty nest.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Throw
okay.
that in for free. You're right.
So what
My
else
wife
do you
will
wanna
agree.
She's
know?
enjoying
My
it.
wife will agree with me all the way
Yes.
along, right?
Yes.
So. Keith!
After what Patty just got, I'm not sure I want to go into
I
that.
know. He's feisty today.
My
He's
wife and I.
been drinking these 3 drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting to me. I think they may be
Yes.
spiked.
I know.
They might be, or it's just a
Too much
Monday. I
caffeine.
mean,
Yes.
Cheers.
that can have the same effect as alcohol sometimes.
Yes.
So.
Exactly.
Well, we met. Keith, are you still talking to her?
No, I said Keith.
Oh.
Where are you from? Where were you born, raised?
Okay, so my birth certificate says Maryland.
Okay.
But I really don't count that because I moved here to the Springs when I was 2.
Oh.
So you're
So,
almost native.
You're
Yeah.
almost native.
I'm basically native.
I crop it up if you potty trained here. You're
Which
local.
I did.
I mean, that's what
I
I tell
did.
my
I think my
daughter.
mom
She
still
was
has
3
pictures
when
of
I
some of
landed
that.
here,
See
so-
what I'm saying?
Do you see what I'm saying?
I can't be a native. I wasn't trained in
same.
much, but I was body trained.
I learned the basics here.
Yes,
That's
the
what we count.
basics.
Where in Maryland were you from?
Germantown.
Yeah, I went to the University of Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, it was so long ago for me that I actually have to think about it. So,
I'm much
but yeah,
older
I
than you.
think it was Germantown. I'm not 100% sure, but my parents can fill in the details there.
So what brought you here to the Springs?
My dad and my mom.
Together?
They
They were married?
Yeah, together.
Moved you here?
They all packed everything up. They moved everything out. I was in a car seat the whole way.
Siblings?
So,
You have siblings or only child?
so yeah, I have a brother and a sister. My brother and his wife, they actually just had their second kid.
Oh.
So I got to be an uncle again back in December. That was fun.
Congrats.
And then a week later, I got to be a dad for the 6th time.
Nice.
So yeah, we got 6 kids at home. Oldest is 10, and we're nuts.
Yeah. And he is Catholic.
But
And for those of you out there who are wondering,
that's
not
always
Mormon,
the
but he's
next
Catholic.
question is, are you Catholic or are you Mormon?
Yeah,
So we're
that's-
Catholic. We fall on that side of
There
the
we go.
line.
Yeah. Do you guys like Paul or what's the church?
Well, it's funny you ask about St. Paul. I actually used to be the music director there.
See,
Down behind the Broadmoor.
You were?
So,
Nice.
yeah, and then my wife and I discovered real quick that you can't raise a family on a church salary.
You know what a church's philosophy is? Lord, you keep him humble and we'll keep him poor.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
I was a pastor, can you tell?
Yeah.
There you go. But no, now we go to St. Francis over in Rock Rimmon.
Oh, nice.
I love
A lot of
St.
fun.
Francis.
A lot of fun over there.
Yeah.
Especially because you get all the nuns over there.
What's with the nuns?
Well, because this
What's your deal with
particular
nuns?
brand of nun over at St. Francis, they're the ones that run the hospitals,
Yes.
and so they're not like the black habit, black and white
Right,
habit that you see on like Blues Brothers and that
Right.
sort of thing. They actually have personality.
Oh.
And they wear normal people clothes, so you can never tell when one of them's sitting in the pew until they glare at you when you're not actually paying attention or something. That's the moment that you know.
Who the nuns
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna shape up right now, Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are you in a monastery? St. Francis Monastery?
So there's a convent there.
Convent.
But
yeah.
it's actually a retirement home as well for like a lot of the old priests and that sort of thing around
Where
the
is
Springs
this?
area. It's basically you go Woodman, you go on the Rock Rimmon, and you follow
Oh,
Rock
yes,
Rimmon
I've
all
been
the way
there.
over
It's
to
to the
the
left. Yes.
right next to the
Okay.
elementary school.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right on.
So we share traffic with
you
with
can
Woodman
tell
Valley
that
Chapel.
Yeah, you can tell we're diverse that we let that Catholic on the show.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Okay. Let's go to the Cole family. What did you?
We love you, man.
Okay.
Look at that
Check the ingredients.
You just opened it. 0 sugar, but my
I've heard of quinine allergies. I think they dealt with that like one time on House. I wonder if that's what's going on there.
So, tell us, Kelsey, where are you from? Are you guys from the same town and you grew up in your high school sweethearts, or what's the story here?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's such a great story that we don't
Which
have time
version
to
do you
tell.
want?
Well, we'll give you a shot in a second. So, ladies first.
Okay.
Yes. So I am from Kansas. I actually met Ryan when I was a wedding planner at a country club in Wichita, where he DJ'd his roommate's wedding.
Oh my
Wait till
God!
the end.
And to test out his sound equipment, he was blaring Sir Mix-a-Lots, Baby Got Back at 2 in the afternoon as my golf guests were coming back in from their round of
I don't
golf.
see the point.
And so I had to go tell him, hey,
Cut.
beep beep, you have to turn down this music. It's heinous. And you have to turn it off.
Tell us what you really think of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heinous.
Said the college cheerleader knows a dance to, I'm sure, Baby Got Back.
Oh.
You were no college cheerleader?
That's a different show. Now I'm in ministry. It's great. It comes full circle.
She does sing on the platform at Life Church. So.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm gonna step off set.
High school cheerleader.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a great pastime.
Yeah.
And
So wait,
So-
did you guys go to the same college together?
we
or-
did not.
Okay.
And so we both lived in Wichita at the time. This was back in 2009, 2008. And we were married in 2010. And life took off from there. So almost 14 years ago.
Wow,
Which is
long
great.
time.
It's been a while. We made it successfully past the 7-year slump, almost doubling that this year, which is
Uh-huh.
a victory.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So what's your take on the story?
No, I mean, that's pretty par for the course. I mean, it's pretty good.
So was
She rated it.
She told the truth.
Yeah, she told the truth. I was just like, which version and how far down the rabbit hole.
Is your family still in Kansas? Or?
My parents are, yes, and I
Okay.
have a sister there too.
Wichita?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there several times. Barry Sanders is from there as
That's
well.
right.
Yeah, and
Joanna Gaines,
Joanna Gaines,
lots of people, yeah,
and you,
and me.
Yeah.
Kelsey Cole.
Yeah.
This is Kelsey Cole.
Yes.
C-O-L-E. I'm talking Cole. If you don't think she's cold, let's talk to Ryan. Right.
Well, I do have a question. So,
Yes.
how did you guys start your
Dating.
foundation? No,
Dating.
no,
Dating?
not the
Yeah.
dating part.
Yeah.
How did you start your foundation? Like,
Yeah.
what's the backstory on that?
That's a great question, Lisa. So back in 2017, my best friend Allison and I were pregnant together. We worked right here in the Springs, less than 10 feet apart from one another. And we went from planning an arranged marriage between her expected daughter, Cora, and our expected son, Whitson, within 2 weeks of each other, unfortunately having to plan funerals for our children as we walked through the stillbirths of both of our children. And so unfortunately, it's an issue that so many expected parents face, as now 1 in 4 statistically reported is kind of the stat, if you will, of pregnancy or infant loss. And so post-COVID, it's probably closer to the 1 in 3. And so it was back in 2018, after we had both of our children go be with Jesus, that we just realized that there is nothing to point parents back to just hope and joy again. You know, so many of the things that we received in the hospital was, here's what you're going through. Here's, you know, kind of the process. Well, yeah, we know what we're going through. And
No
it's
kidding statements.
all the no kidding statements. Exactly, Keith. But what do we have to look forward to? And so that's where we really felt like God was saying, I want you to shine my light on this really dark topic of pregnancy and infant loss.
And how did Foreknown? Because what a great name, right?
Yes.
For a ministry
Thank you.
that you're doing. Who came up with that?
We did, our team did, and we were just thinking of just words and praying about just words that we could use, and Jeremiah 1:5 came to mind, and that is where Foreknown Ministries was born.
Tell us the verse.
Yeah. For I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I have called you and set you apart above the nations. And so we find a lot of comfort in that, because we know that God didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, today's the day, but yet he has walked with us every step of the way.
Yes.
And he continues to do that. So,
Wow.
That's
I
incredible.
can't joke anymore now.
You can. You can.
I
Our
can't.
work here is done.
Check that one off the
You've
list.
been a
All
part
right.
of the Be Encouraged show. We're Wow, man, and you, that was such a great story. And you obviously connect with the mission here.
Yeah.
And so tell us about your part.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't think, I mean, Kelsey and Allison, our other co-founder, when they were, I remember Kelsey, just doing this number for just hours on end, just scrolling aimlessly, and lost her son, trying to find any semblance of hope. And, they felt like God called them to start producing the things that people need, to just start anything, getting any sort of hope towards a direction of healing. And if there's nothing for women, there's absolutely nothing for men. I don't know if you know this, but traditionally, two people are involved in creating a child.
Yes.
And so it's
There's
tradition.
that.
Yeah, so we'll flash.
We're gonna keep on
directions.
going. We're gonna keep pushing forward past that thing, right? For Frank's benefit. But no, I think it's one of those things where, there's nothing for guys. There's nothing for guys to understand that not only are you involved in the process, you actually have to engage with the healing part of that as well. And the Bible shows that as a man, I'm actually called to help my wife in many different ways and situations that sometimes don't affect me, but they actually do affect me because two become one. So it's my job to help Kelsey understand what does this look like and how do I really carry that burden with her. And also, I have to learn how to heal myself.
Absolutely.
You could have been a much different dude.
Absolutely.
And because the reason the ministry exists, because there are so many much different dudes that aren't showing up like you are right now. So thank you for doing that.
Well, not only that, but men are raised to stuff their feelings. They're not really in tune, especially with their spouse like that. I mean, because as a woman, I'm sure you know more detail on this, but when you lose a baby, it's a mourning loss within the body itself, besides the heart and mind as well. So you just tapping into other men to pour back and to help bring that understanding alone, I'm sure is amazing.
Yeah, one of the massive places where we found a lot of opportunity to speak is that when we have done retreats for women, and our co-founder's husband Jono and I did a session that was obviously the number one rated session of the entire retreat. It was a women's retreat, but he and I came in and spoke specifically to the women about what guys go through during this, and you could see the eyes kind of lighten up. The fact of I could be on a wide range of spectrums, anywhere from I'm absolutely distraught and destroyed just like you are, to I don't know when you're going to get over this. And both of those situations, if we don't have a good place to communicate, are really opportunities to grow apart, to disconnect, to take a step away. And so our job is to help people understand, no, if you're married, you're both called to help each other in this process. It's going to look different because you're different people, but you're still married. And it's kind of like that opportunity of everybody continues to keep growing in their marriage. But if you're growing one direction and your spouse is growing a different direction, and you don't learn how to keep dating each other and keep seeing what's going on, in about 10 years, you're going to go, who are you?
And what are you doing in my room?
What are you doing in my room?
Exactly.
How does this work? But if you're not equipped to figure out how to have those conversations,
That's right.
that could go awry. And some people, they wake up 10 years and go, who are you? And
I think that
choose to
happens
kind of,
even apart from this experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right? So,
In the best of circumstances.
In the best of
Right.
circumstances.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That
Well, a
was
lot of
amazing.
empty nesters too. They go through that.
Yeah.
It's
I'm one
really
of those.
sad.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
You're still dating her?
Oh, yeah.
Well, but I mean, you guys could have
She's awesome.
you could have blessed all your kids out, right? And then you could have woken up the next day, no kids in the house.
Yeah.
And you're like, who are you? I gotta figure that out.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
It's my second marriage. My first one kicked me to the curb after that. And, and We did. We had never grown together, and a lot of times people don't see that.
Right.
That's what's happening in your marriage. We're married for 20 years when we divorced, and so my wife now, Michelle, just had this ready-made thing. So it's been a challenge of trying to figure out, oh my God, I never had a kid in my life. Now I marry a guy that has 5 and all these grandbabies and stuff, and an ex-wife, and how do we navigate all this? And my ex-wife is a very good friend of ours, and there's no drama whatsoever, and God has really taken that broken space of our lives and created something very beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Although I do need to throw a disclaimer out there as far as like dating your wife, that sort of thing. My wife and I have been doing that for going on almost 20 years now. And we do have 6 kids because of it.
Yes.
So
you need to close that store, bud. Shut the store down, man. They're not teenagers yet. You will know what I'm talking about when they're teenagers.
Although our oldest basically is, so we're at the very threshold of that, and
the tweens.
I catch glimpses of that, and I'm like, oh dear God, what is coming? But I do appreciate though
he makes the kids cute for a reason.
Yes.
But then he makes them
carbon
on
copies
wheels
is what I did. I made them carbon copies, so just to keep it easy. But no, I do appreciate what you were saying about the dads, because we had one. Of our 6 kids, we also have at least 3 angel babies. A couple more that we're not 100% sure about, like medically, but
You have 3 angel babies as well.
Oh yeah. And one of them was very, very quick. It was an ectopic pregnancy. So we found out that my wife was pregnant, and then within 48 hours we found out that
the baby was
she's not actually pregnant. And just very much with the hospital thing. Here's what's happening in your body. Here's what you're going through. Here's what you can expect. It's like, okay, that's all fine and well. How do we deal with the emotional side of things? So now we actually have a little plaque, and it says, and to think the first thing that he saw when he opened his eyes was the face of Jesus. And that's the one thing that we have in our house, that it's right up there with any other family members who are with them as well.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that, Keith. I think and Frank, you even mentioned the same thing too. And when people have the freedom to talk about their children who are in heaven, especially with a pregnancy or infant loss, because there can be such feelings of shame and isolation, especially for the mom, sometimes for the dad though. But when you can talk about it, it kind of just opens the woodwork and allows people to share their story. And so we have 6 kids too.
Yep.
And we have 1 here, and 5 are chilling with Jesus.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, and obviously, I think the problem is, again, going back to the communication problem. So I don't actually know what to say if we put the plaque up. Like, am I supposed to cry over it? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What do I do with my hands? The Ricky Bobby thing.
Exactly.
What do I
put them here?
Right. I don't know what to do. So I think that's the opportunity of helping people, encouraging people, and helping them understand. I don't know. There is no formula. What Kelsey and I decide to do is what Kelsey and I decide to do. But we've had the conversation.
Right.
And then now I have to actually die to myself every year and go, the 10th of February, what are we going to do? And have that conversation together and say, what does that look like? How are you doing? That's the problem. Is most people, they just say, instead of having that conversation, they're just like,
they avoid
it's the 10th of February.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do anything else than address the
but
thing that we should be talking about.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sure hope you're dying to yourself more than once a year, though.
Yeah.
That's a hard life, Kelsey.
I have it timed. I mean, it's from noon to 2 on the 10th of February every year.
And I think just having that open communication, it gives you something to bond over too, because with the ectopic pregnancy, as my wife was going in, getting prepped for the surgery, everything like that, I'm going in with her, and the biggest thing I remember about that is because I like making my wife laugh. You know, we've said time and time and time again, the moment I stop making, liking to make you laugh, we're screwed. You know, it's over. We're done. It's beyond repair. So even in that situation, like for us, we were still able to find something, because we had a nurse. Thankfully, I can't remember her name. I wouldn't say it if I did. But the whole time she was just in there like this.
Yeah.
And as crazy as it sounds, that gave us something to bond over. Because it's like, oh, good Lord, how can you look at a couple like this who is going through this and still have a job, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But as it's gone through, that's still part of that narrative.
Yes.
Because for guys, we latch onto stories, we latch onto situations more than we do emotions. And so just having that, brings us something that we can connect with every single time. And now, this kind of phrase has become sort of an inside joke for us. Anytime that it's like you're inappropriately upset about something, we'll just make this face at each other, and the kids have no idea what's going on, but we usually just start cracking up at that point. So
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it. Let us circle this around a little bit, though, because thank you so much for allowing people to know what For Known Ministries is about. But Chief, I want you, and Patty, I want you as well to tell people about what your business is about as well.
And you guys have an amazing collaborative going on too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Who
We're
wants
actually
to
just
start?
talking about that.
Two separate companies, mind you.
Yes.
But
So what I do is I help small businesses create emergency plans for disruptions. And for me, it all started after 9/11. So I was in Cincinnati at the time. My former career was corporate investment management. I used to work for boutique investment management firms. I was the trader. I was calling the Smith Barneys and the Merrill Lynches and doing asset allocation changes, right? Very small little boutique firms. And so when I think about 9/11, it was almost 24 years ago, 23 years ago this year. I still remember every single minute of that day. And I knew people in those buildings. And I still don't know what happened to some of them. And so, excuse me, so a couple of years after 9/11, the securities agencies said, okay, every financial institution now has to have a disaster recovery plan, because they found out all the things with the money trails and all that kind of stuff, right? And so being in the small firm that I was assigned the task of researching it, writing it, implementing it, and all the things. And nobody really knew, like, okay, how do we do this? Because nobody was really talking about that at that time. And so it was very eye-opening for me in that way. And I won't say, it was a main thing for me over my career, but in the last few years, when I really sat down and said, what is it that really I wanted to do? What was my purpose? Why am I here? And it kept going back to the whole small business thing, like I was saying earlier, growing up in this small family business. And what I saw, like business continuity, project management, contingency planning, all of that kept coming up for me. Because even before I moved to Colorado, when I was living in Wisconsin, I was working with small businesses there on a totally different level, but we implemented some of those disaster plans for these brick and mortar businesses. And I just saw that business continuity planning, which is really technically what it is, it was all on the corporate enterprise level, which I get it, major corporations, they have the teams, they have the money, but what kept bugging me and nagging me was, but wait a minute, like small businesses are the champions of the local economy. They're the ones who were entrenched in their local economies. They're the ones, like when you spend $100 in a small business, $70 of that stays in the local economy. But who's most likely to lose their business and their livelihood if they don't have a contingency plan for an emergency, right? That's the small business owner. And so I got my credentials with the Business Continuity Institute. They're a global institute, and we have a framework that I use and have adapted to the small business owner so that they can now have a plan. And we're not just talking about natural disasters. Disruptions come in all shapes and sizes, right? It could also be major life events. You know, if you're even solopreneurs or hybrid teams, remote teams. And so that's what I do. And I love being, because the more I can help that small business be prepared, the more they're going to be financially resilient, the more they're going to have peace of mind, the more they're going to have an even better reputation in their community, because their clients and customers and the people that depend on them know that they're still going to be there.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do.
That's what you do. And by the way, she's single.
And she's got beautiful blue eyes.
Okay. We're gonna edit this.
You're on live, baby.
That's out there.
Podcast.
That's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I'd throw that in for free.
Yes. You're the really single lady in the room. We gotta intro you to the world.
And
There you
Keith
Is not single.
is not.
Not single,
Not
6
single,
days.
no.
But the interesting thing is, you know, okay, so backstory, like how I know these amazing people is I used to work with Ryan.
Oh, you knew him too? Okay.
Yes, and I worked with him at the time that they were going through what they went through with Whitson.
Aw.
And I used to work with Keith. And so
Full
I
circle.
was like,
I know. And I go to church with them. Now.
oh my gosh.
I know. So, and then you were back when I was at 1 Million Cups too, but I must have missed you back then.
Yeah.
And so Keith and I reconnected recently because I was asked to sub for someone at a BNI meeting.
Uh-huh.
And Keith happened to belong to that BNI group. And I was like, hey, I know you. He's like, hey, I know you too. And so we got to talking about what we both do. And that is what created the collaboration. So now I'm going to tell you what Keith does, because what he does is amazing.
Yes, Keith, go.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Keith is going to tell you. Keith is
You're welcome to
sorry,
it.
Keith is going to tell you what
She
he
likes
likes.
having the mic. Let's go. Keith.
I like having the mic too, so I mean,
Yeah.
but so while my story does not go all the way back to September 11th, okay, it technically does because I was alive there. I still remember, you know, everything that went on that day, but I remember it from the context of first period jazz. So in my case, it actually came from a very similar situation, which was 2020. You know, customer service, that's always been a cornerstone of what businesses do, what nonprofits do, because no matter what, you are always serving someone, whether that's donors, volunteers, employees, customers, whoever. And for the longest time, there had been a downward trend in the quality of that service in a lot of different ways. And what 2020 finally did, when everybody started working remote and tempers got about yay long and that sort of thing, is it ripped the Band-Aid off of what had been a gaping wound. And so I was working in customer service at that point. I was working in a call center with Patty. That's when we were working together last. And I had helped start the retention team at MediShare, Christian Care Ministry.
Okay.
And so, you know, I started seeing it from the policy creation, from the, you know, how do you build a playbook to hold on to people who are here voluntarily? You know, they're not under contracts. There's nothing holding them there except their own desire. How do you keep them with the company? And I started taking a lot of what I was doing through that and taking a look around me, you know, because I've been in customer service of one kind or another for about 20 years now. And what I tend to see is a lot of times, you know, businesses, if they don't have some sort of strategy for holding on to people, they're not even keeping track of how many people they're holding on to.
Right.
Especially call centers.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, it's not just call centers. It can even be, you know, little mom and pop shops.
Oh, yeah.
And so very much like what Lisa does with, you know, connecting people, what Patty does with, you know, building businesses, you know, building up their emergency plans. I build up a business's retention strategy.
Why didn't you add me in that?
Well, because you and Lisa and you know, Lisa and Frank and Lisa is like a package deal.
Yes.
So.
We're amazing.
No, And Frank does a fantastic job too with helping build people up and helping.
He's words
Yeah,
of
no,
affirmation,
words of
obviously.
Oh.
That's his love language.
Actually, it was really funny. Before we started the show, I asked Frank. We tried to come up with a list of people throughout the Colorado Springs that Frank doesn't know. I think the only person on that list was my own wife. And that's not for lack of effort either. So
yeah, I've seen her on social media.
Exactly.
So thank you for highlighting her there. You know, your marriage, my friend, is really. I don't even have to be on the inside of that to know that you know that you have been married and you're a good man. So I want to say that, you know, because there's just so much we hear about the fallout of relationships all the time. But we're not celebrating the Keith Hessels and the Coles that are doing such wonderful things, marriage-wise and etc. Thank you for liking him.
Look at this beard.
Oh, beard! Oh,
It's an awesome beard, by the way.
It goes very, very far. I have learned. It took me about 10 years of knowing my wife before she actually was okay with me growing something out.
Yes.
And now she won't let me shave it off.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Kelsey has the same thing. So I'm
Yeah,
hiding
you really like
7
it?
chins underneath.
You got 7 chins underneath that?
I
Oh,
look like
okay.
I'm 12 years old.
Do you fluff it?
It's
I've
good to
seen
know
that
then, so if we-
pre-beard picture online.
So if we see a Gimli style beard, we'll know.
This is
maybe it's
tame
time
right
to take a
now.
look at
This is
Atkins.
This is actually really short. So
Is it really? See, I can't grow it like that. It's
You
been
can't,
one
it's
of the
good.
bigaboos of my life. I
We
want
heard,
it.
we heard there's a little poker. If you don't grow in certain spots, men can roll it and
I've seen
poke.
that.
Does that work?
I don't know. I don't have that problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't grow my beard. I mean, I was probably, I was in my mid-30s before I could really grow a beard.
Yeah, really.
I don't understand these 12, 13, 15-year-old kids in high school
And
football.
they're rocking
They
it.
all
beards.
have,
Yeah.
What are they drinking?
But look at them. Some of those guys are 6'7", 6'8",
Yeah.
so
full beard.
you know, full of beard. Yeah.
It's in the milk.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't
The
know.
cows.
HGH for everyone.
Those stinking helpers.
Oh.
It kind of takes testosterone treatments to a whole level too.
So anyway,
We digress.
So when we got to talking and realizing that what we both really do is help these small businesses become more resilient, that's when we said we really need to collaborate. And so we're actually hosting a workshop on Wednesday.
This
the 21
Wednesday?
This Wednesday,
Wednesday.
day after tomorrow.
21C?
21C.
Oh.
Register online. And we're starting a podcast called Continuity Conversations for small businesses. We're going to start recording hopefully in the next week or so.
Awesome.
There we go. Let's rock
Be
that.
sure to put the link for your event for this Wednesday on our comments on our show.
All right, go.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
make sure we get it out to as many
Yes.
people as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
You know, our show is all about infusing hope and encouragement into community, right? Yeah, so Kelsey, I know you do that. Like, what would you say to an audience that's saying, "Oh, I want to hear something encouraging and hopeful from Kelsey Cole"?
Oh my goodness.
What would you say?
And go.
Well,
No pressure.
No pressure. I mean, you know our story.
Yeah.
I mean, we have walked through hell and back multiple times, not just with pregnancy losses, but with other things too, in life in general. Like, we all go through grief, we all experience trauma, we all experience disappointment, sometimes on a daily basis. And so I think my message of hope, if you will, is just to surround yourself with a support system that is going to continuously be there for you and shoulder you every single day. But ultimately, like, as a believer, my hope comes from Jesus.
Amen.
I know that one day when I leave this earth and I stop breathing, I'm going to wake up and not only am I going to be in the presence of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, but I'm going to have 5 little kiddos running behind him, and I'm going to say, welcome home, you did it. And so for me, the hope of heaven is the perspective that I try to live each and every day with, not only in my relationships, but in business as well. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You know, you got a beautiful wife, so I don't need to go to you. This is your hope, isn't it?
No.
I love her. She is not my hope. Yeah,
It's true.
I mean, I think that is. I think to encourage somebody is to encourage people to understand where hope does come from. If I put my hope in Kelsey, with all due respect and how much I love her, she will fail me.
Yes.
And so I think everybody right now is looking for hope. People are looking for a place to particularly find hope. We find that hope in Jesus.
Yes.
I have found through so many different avenues, the way is Jesus. And people, I think you need to figure out what your perspective on Jesus is, because everybody will have to answer a question, what do you feel about Jesus?
Yeah.
At the same respect, I think it's one of those things from an encouragement perspective of getting through life, like Kelsey said, is really, we have to understand who our closest community is and what they believe at the same respect. Some people have relationships in their life that are just not healthy. And so what does it look like for you to have the right relationships in your life? What we do every day is we help people understand what right relationships are in their life and walk them through a healing journey. Because hope, while we do know it has a name, and for us it's Jesus, you still have to do some work.
You do.
You still have to put the steps in, because healing isn't just going to manufacture itself on a Tuesday.
Or a Monday.
Or a Monday today. You have to actually put the work in, and so that does require people in your corner to actually fight with you and for you against all the negative things in the world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and they're leading people out of the space of brokenness.
Yes.
Right? Nobody wants to be led with someone that thinks they got all this crap together.
Exactly.
Nobody's
None
got
of us do.
Nobody.
That's why we're doing this show.
Because we're jacked up.
Yeah, we're jacked up individuals. Spreading encouragement.
Exactly.
Infusing hope to the world.
Yeah, her more than me, but we're both jacked up.
Absolutely. I love the way you guys put that too. I mean, one of the things that I do for clients is a training program called It's a Blast to Serve. And it's customer service, de-escalate, all that wonderful stuff. But the last thing, so it's because serve is not only my business name, it's also the acronym that I teach for serving customers, serving employees, whatever. And the last one is always encourage. And one of the basics that I try to teach people is what is something that you can do today to make that person's day a little better. You know, whether that's going the extra mile for them, putting an extra sale on on whatever they bought. What can you do to encourage that employee? So just knowing where you guys are coming from on the support end for that. It's just it is so cool being in this room, with all these people who are just here to go that extra mile.
Indeed. Was that your encouragement piece, or you just threw that out for free?
No, I just threw that one out for free.
He likes the mic too.
No, it is so much fun just here in the background, hearing the extra things that people do just to try and make somebody's day. I love it.
Well, now that you're here, Keith, how would you encourage the world today?
I would say, even if you're not serving a customer, even if you're not, if you have today off, being a national holiday and that sort of thing, what is something that you can do to just make somebody's day? Whether that's, calling a friend, calling a grandparent, or even just, as you're out on the street, you see somebody walking along there. If you are the absolutely crazy kind, hey, where are you trying to get to? Can I give you a ride? It's too cold for you to be walking out here. Unless you're walking with a dog, in which case, you blame the dog. I love dogs, quick disclaimer. I have nothing against them. I got kids instead of pets though, so there's reason behind that. I don't have to take the kids out and walk.
Yes, exactly. They're body trained.
But just what is something that you can do to make somebody else's day?
Thank you. Serve Business Consulting. And what is your word for our audience today?
So I think for me, the thing that keeps coming up is you never know what somebody else is going through. You know, we live in this life of technology. I'm entrenched in it. We're all entrenched in it. And, you know, we look at social media and that comparison game is really hard to do, but you never know what someone else is going through on the other side of the screen. Yeah. You never know what's going on behind somebody's closed doors. You never know what challenges they're dealing with and whatever. And so I'm just kind of going to echo what really everybody else has been saying is just be a kind human being. Yes. You know, I mean, that's really kind of the basics of it, whether it's in business or in personal life. I mean, I've been through the last several years of muck myself. Yes. And you just never know.
Which means she's single.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Frank.
I don't even know what to say after that.
Good night, everybody.
But yeah, just you know, just keep that in your awareness, like, you know, and especially so for example, several weeks ago before the holidays, I met with somebody on a one-to-one, super nice gal. We met at a deli. I'd never been there before. It was super packed, super busy, and the girl behind the counter was just totally overwhelmed. Yes. And you know, it just takes 2 seconds to say, how's your day? Yes. How's your day going? You know, like you don't have to tell me your life story. I get that part. Yeah. But just, are you okay today? Because you just never know.
That's a quick check-in.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. How people reach you?
So how they can reach me is pretty simple. It's Patty, Patty, Bonsera. I'm going to spell that because it's Italian, and you know, it's pattybonsera.com. It's BONSERA.com. And for the workshop, there is a link in the navigation. You just click on workshop and you can register.
Okay. Yes. How do we reach you?
It's real easy. My website is my full business name. It's www.servebusinessconsultingllc.com. servebusinessconsultingllc.com. It's really long, so I always say it twice. And all contact information is on there. Or you can search us on Facebook. You can search us on LinkedIn. Like us that way. Because thankfully I've been getting a little more active on there. So.
Good for you. That's because I keep tagging him. He's like, oh, wait. I don't know.
It's always helpful.
Yes.
It is.
How do we reach you?
FlournownMinistries.org, and it's FOREKNOWN Ministries. Or if anyone is actually going through a loss currently, they can text us to find immediate encouragement, and that is a text to 719-626-8486.
There we go.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And before we wrap up today, we need to make sure that we spotlight our sponsors once more. Crescio and our dear friend Joshua Gay is passionate about uplifting the Southeast. And when you partner with this company, you will learn how to automate your sales funnel using tools like ChatGPT. Visit Crescio.com to learn more. And our dear friend Westco Insurance and the lovely Karen Butcher. She's my agent.
She's mine too.
Indeed. And if you want a good insurance agent, go to westcoinsurance.com and look up Karen. You know, Lisa, it's been fun being back with you.
Yes.
You just rock.
Happy
you know
New
that,
Year.
right? Yeah. Happy New Year. Bam. Happy New Year.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we made it a year.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Here's to the next 10.
That's
Yes.
right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Next 10, yes.
Be encouraged.
Yeah. We'll see how we make it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
You're welcome. We're going to help you. Our mission, as always, to extend open encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement. Help us further our mission to help others. Visit our new website at BeEncouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your business name out to our growing audience of 45,000 reach a week and growing.
It's pretty amazing.
Yes. And we have a lot of fun here, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
And don't forget our spotlight visits. If you have a brick and mortar or not, we can come and spotlight you all. for a small minimal fee. So yeah, hit us up.
That's right. Get your business out. It doesn't matter how great you do what you do if no one knows you're doing
That's
it.
right.
Right? And this is a great low-cost opportunity for people to come in and get their businesses spotlighted and get an opportunity to be known throughout our community. Thanks for being with us on this Monday. This is so much fun, even though it's cold and crap outside.
Yes.
I mean, right? It's
Negative one.
Yeah.
Currently negative one.
Yeah. We're jamming the dungeon today, baby. Yeah. So this is more fun than we should be allowed to have. We'll see you next Monday on the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and
Lisa.
We love you guys. We love our community. And we want to make sure that we are assets and value to you. Have a great week.